In C#, a string is a series of characters that is used to represent text. Internally, the text is stored as a sequential read-only collection of char objects. The maximum size of a string object in memory is about 2 GB or about 1 billion characters. You can declare and initialize strings in various ways, as shown in the following example. First of all, we can declare a string variable without initialization, meaning that any value isn't assigned to it. Variables which are not assigned cannot be used in our program. So for example, if I try to invoke a console writeLine method with that variable, an error will show up stating that a use of unassigned variable was detected, which is illegal in C#. However, we don't have to always assign the value in the same line that we declare the variable. Let me assign some value to that variable in a line below. So message1 is equal to some value. And after that line, we are now able to use it in the console writeLine method, and the error is gone. To the string type, we can assign a null value, which was not possible with any predefined type that we covered previously. A null represents a value that does not refer to any object, but still it is a valid assignment. So if we try to invoke a console writeLine method once again and pass the null string variable, so message2, no error will show up since it is a valid use of that variable. It is up to that writeLine method to handle a null value in its implementation. We can also assign a string variable to a static empty value from the string class. Keep in mind that a string empty is not the same as a null value string. String empty represents a value of no chars at all, which is a valid value for a string. And also, as we saw previously, we can assign a concrete value wrapped in a double quotes. But what if we wanted to use the double quotes ourselves in that value? If I try to wrap the word hi in double quotes like this, we got 4 errors in our output window because the string value ended before the word hi, and then the compiler treats the hi as some variable which was never declared. To get the expected result, we have to escape those double quotes around the word hi. We are going to do that with a backslash like this. So backslash and then the double quote, and another backslash for the other double quote. Since the backslash is a special character in the text, it has to be also escaped by another backslash if we wanted to include it in the text. So for example, let's declare a variable to store a Windows folder location. So string Windows location is equal to, and then the path to the C drive backslash Windows. And again, we have to escape that backslash with some other backslash. Yeah, so now it is a valid path to that folder location. You can imagine some deeply nested folder location for which we would have to escape every backslash, which might be a bit annoying. But fortunately, there is a better way to do this. We can make use of a verbatim strings. All we have to do is put the @ sign before the value. It would look like this. So let me make another variable for the fonts folder. And now with the @ sign, we can specify the string without escaping the backslash. So the C drive backslash Windows backslash fonts. So if I remove the @ sign, which indicates that this is a verbatim string, we would have to also escape it with some other backslashes. So let's put it back. The only thing that has to be always escaped by the backslash is a double quote sign. Even a verbatim string will not help us with that. Using C#, we have an option to create a string from joining 2 or even more strings together. That process is called concatenating. We can concatenate a string in a few ways. First of all, we can use the concat method from the string class. So let's create some variable. And then we assign the value to the string concat method, to which we have to pass the strings that we want to concatenate. Yeah. So for example, it can be text, and then after a colon, you can specify some more strings. So let's say to me as a string. We don't have to restrict only to 2 parameters. You can pass even more. I will separate to me with a comma. To get the same result, we can also make a use of the plus operator on a string. It will concatenate few strings to a single one. So string, let's call it concatenated to, is equal to text, then the plus sign, and let's make it the same, so to me. A third option that I want you to know is a string interpolation. Interpolated string might contain a value of other strings inside of its value. Creating an interpolated string is pretty simple. Let's declare a new variable for it. And then to mark it as an interpolated string, we have to add a $sign before the first double quote, like this. It behaves pretty much the same as a regular string, but inside its value, you can interpolate other strings using a curly braces like this. So in curly braces, we just gonna pass the variable that we want to use. And then after the curly braces, we specify the rest of our string. What is very important when it comes to strings is that they are immutable, meaning a string cannot be changed once it is created. For example, new string hello will occupy some memory space. Now by changing that initial string to hello world, a new string object will be created in the memory instead of modifying the initial string at the same memory address. That behavior will slow down the performance if the same string changes multiple times by replacing, appending, or removing a new strings to the initial string. Fortunately, .NET Framework introduced a string builder to solve that issue. A string builder is an object that allows you to expand the number of characters in the string. It doesn't create a new object in the memory, but dynamically expands memory to accommodate the modified string. To create a string with the help of string builder, first we have to create a string builder object. Let's declare the type of that variable as a string builder. Name it SB and assign a new string builder instance of it like this. We can also pass the initial string as a parameter, like this. Then in our program we can append to the end result by invoking the append or append line methods on the string builder object. Let me do that a couple of times. So SB append and then if you want to get the result, we have to invoke the toString method on the string builder object. So let's declare a string result variable and assign the value of the result, so SB toString. I will write to the console the strings that we have created so you can see the end result of each of them. So let's console write line the result, the interpolated string, two of the concatenated strings, the verbatim string, which is fonts folder, the Windows folder location, and the text with escape double quote. Let's run the project. And here are the results. Some value is the first string that we have declared. Then there's the null value, which is different from the string empty value, but in the console they behave the same. Then we have the double quotes escape text, the Windows folder location escaped by a backslash, then the fonts folder using a verbatim string without any escaping backslashes. Then we have the two concatenated strings, first using the string concat method and the second using the plus operator. Then we have our interpolated string. And finally, there is the result from the string builder object.